Hi for ItsAMansWorldFTM1. So, week 18's topic is regrets. Have you had any before, after, during transition? Things like that. Well, honestly, my biggest regret is that I'm still here. It's really annoying. I received a letter today. This is a greeting card, I guess, which is a handwritten note. Inside, there was a picture from, I don't know, a million years ago, and a further 3 pieces of paper written on both sides by my sister. A sister I haven't seen in a really long time, who lives half the world away. And her letter ends, this is really hard to read. I got this letter today, and I think my sister told my mother that she was sending it. And it deals a lot with my life and my sister's perception of it, and how our family life impacted me and whatever. So here's how this ends. So I go back to my question. Have you ever really tried to be a woman? Quotation marks. Not just female, but a woman. Underlined. A woman is someone who cares for something outside, underlined, of herself. She gives meaning to everything else she does. I don't think you've had the opportunity to do that, since you're only been able to care about yourself and your own pain. This is why you didn't really seem to care about how you dressed, or that your room was a mess, and that you don't help at home. Being overweight has nothing to do with it! Exclamation mark. Especially nowadays, where there are so many nice clothes and accessories for all sizes. Fat people. And you are beautiful! Your skin and facial features are incredible. But I suppose you are afraid. After all, there is always the danger of being rejected again. But would you be willing to give it a try? Can we make you into a woman for a month? You don't need to be flower and lace type, unless that's what you like. But can we turn your wardrobe and room for 30 days? And then blah, 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 blah. Of course, to be a real trying it out, you would need to take a holiday from friends who wouldn't like the idea, since they wouldn't leave you free in the experience. This was one of the hardest letters I've ever had to read. One of maybe second in hardship to the letter that I wrote my dad as part of a therapeutic experiment. My dad really messed me up. So I wrote him a letter telling him, I don't need you, and what you've done to me isn't gonna affect me anymore. I got this letter 2 hours before I had to go into work today. I spent all of that time crying. I almost cried at work. It was pretty fun. And I hate crying. I hate being weak. I hate being vulnerable. I'm just kind of sick of emotions overall. And she obviously doesn't get me. I want you to see this picture. It's not gonna be easy, but this is my family, and I'm back here. If I get really close, you'll see I look really happy. I was on a roller coaster. It's one of my favorite things. So, of course I look happy. She states in that letter that after I moved here to America, I pretty much stopped caring about being a girl. When we moved to America, I became a woman. That's when hormones kicked in and adolescence started. So moving here was actually a combination of all kinds of things. It was culture shock, literally, because I didn't speak the language. Puberty, which was awesome. I went from a co-ed environment to an all-girls environment. I also discovered masturbation, but that's a different story. So combine the three things together. Before puberty and moving here, I was in a culture that I understood. I was surrounded by people of both genders all day, every day, which means I had the ability to find a niche where I fit in. I wasn't forced to wear super girly outfits, except on special occasions. And I didn't have hormones running through my body making me feel wrong all the time. Okay. But when we moved here, all of those things happened at the same time. And that's when I stopped caring about being a girl. I never cared about being a girl. I just did what was expected of me. Then again, it all happened at the same time. So it's very convenient for her, who 5 years after I moved here, 4 years after I moved here, she left. She moved somewhere else. And then she moved further away. And then several years after that, she moved into Europe. And then a few years after that, she moved to Africa. And our relationship ceased to be close when I was 16. So that's 15 years ago since we've really spoken. We've spoken maybe 3 or 4 times in 15 years. Together, just the two of us. One of those times was 4 weeks ago. And before that, we had a 10-minute video conference on Skype 4 years earlier. So, no, she hasn't seen me growing up. She hasn't seen me do anything since she left the house 15 years ago. So, I regret that I let someone who doesn't know me tell me who I am. I regret that I let people who are unwilling to know my friends, who are uncomfortable in the social circumstances where I'm comfortable, and who disagree with me on everything, stop me from becoming who I am. Stop me from hiding in a closet or in my room. I regret that I let the love of my family, which I don't have, detain me from actually becoming who I am for 10 years. I regret that I am so miserable with them. But I thought that they loved me and that I would lose their love if I was who I am. So that I put myself aside to be miserable and put myself through suffering that I didn't have to experience in order to keep their love, which isn't very good love to begin with. I regret that I allowed them to push me around and to keep me down because I feel like I am nothing. And I have accomplished nothing. You know, not to rock the boat. I regret that I allow people to play with my emotions. I regret that I took so long to do this. I regret that even though I have a T letter, I still haven't started T. I regret this bright light because I probably look much better, but it's really driving me crazy. I regret not believing in myself so that I didn't look for this information sooner. I regret not changing jobs before I came out, because getting called she at work is really pissing me off. Those are my regrets. That I allow my family to hurt me. That I allow them to stop me from being who I am. That I love them so much. That I'm willing to bend over backwards for them, including limiting myself and stopping myself from becoming who I am. I regret that. I regret taking 5 days off to see these people when they're ashamed to let their friends see me. And when they write me letters like that. I think I'd rather be anywhere but here. And that upsets me. Anyway, next week it's gonna be relationships, and I don't have a partner. So we'll do something else. Or I will skip 19 and go right to 20. I don't really have anything good to talk about. So relationships is gonna go, and either I'll skip to 20 or I will find something else to talk about. Thanks for watching Kai on ItsAMansWorldFTM1. You guys have a better week than I did.